Hello, good evening, everybody. So, today's topic is how to set up RT-PCR lab. It's how to set up an RT-PCR lab. Good evening, good evening. I'm glad to have all of you here today. And this is the second session on how to set up a lab. The first session was how to set up a basic lab, and today we'll discuss how to set up an RT-PCR lab, considering that it's the demand of today's current times where we have to set up an RT-PCR lab. And just a minute more so that we all gather up, and then we can call our expert to be with us. Jayesh Warade, he was with us on the last time also in the session where he discussed with us what are the basic requirements to have a lab. Sir,
Hope it works. Let me check.
sir,
Is it fine? Just
so,
I think.
good evening,
It's
sir,
fine.
and
Good evening. Good
welcome
evening.
back.
Yeah.
Welcome back. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah. Fine. Fine now.
Okay. And welcome back to the session where we are discussing how to set up a lab. Today we'll discuss how to set up an RT-PCR lab. And sir is the consultant biochemist, molecular biologist, NABL assessor, NABH assessor. आप जो पूछना चाहते हैं उनसे पूछ सकते हैं. वो आपके सारे सवालों का जवाब देंगे. He has answers to all your questions which are lab related and biochemistry related, academics plus lab. And I want to make a mention of one important thing. Sir has started with a series of artificial intelligence on Udemy, right?
Yeah.
So can you
Basically, it is
please tell us about that?
basically it's about business intelligence, not artificial intelligence. It's about business intelligence related to the clinical laboratory. So maybe if anybody is interested, they can take the link. I can give promo code also. So if they want, they can attain it free of cost, because I have limited promo codes. So if anybody wants, I can share the promo code and they can attend it.
Yes.
So
तो
basically, it
आप
is a
लोग ले
certification
लीजिए.
course. Yeah, it's a certification course, online certification course. So they can attend it. Anybody, if interested, can attend.
Okay. So it will be very useful. So people who are here and who are watching the live session, please do ask sir to give the promo code. So it will be helpful, and it's a certification course. It adds to your CV. देखो अभी पूछना शुरू कर दिया है लोगों ने. You will get the promo code.
I will share at the end of the session. Maybe I'll put into the comment box so that everybody can, who are beneficial. Maybe I think 100 redemption out of that already some are finished. So, but even anyways, people can attend it maybe, and even if required, I can generate some more. So it's not an issue.
Good. Thank you, sir. And anybody can DM also him directly. He will be
Yeah.
helpful. He'll help you. And today also you'll get the link. So we'll start with the session of how to set up an RT-PCR lab in the current situation where we have COVID pandemic going on, and RT-PCR, gold standard RT-PCR karwa lo, RT-PCR karwa lo. So I've understood that there's one lab which is very important nowadays is an RT-PCR lab. So is it possible, sir, that if we just set up an RT-PCR lab, just a RT-PCR lab?
Yeah, see, basically when we say PCR or anything related to the molecular level or any molecular investigation, so if you consider the scenario 2 years before, that is the January 2020 and the January 2022, there is a huge gap. If anybody was thinking of setting up a PCR lab or any molecular lab in January 2020, that's exactly 2 years before, it was a huge task, and it required a lot of investment, and it required a lot of uh, expertization and technical expertization. But if you see the situation exactly after 2 years, that is January 2022, everything has come down. You don't require that much expertization. You don't require that much huge investment. And it's basically, I will say, it is the easiest lab to set up with a very routine investment. And now if you see the overall scenario throughout the India, at all India level, if you see the scenario, you will see more of lab doing PCR testing than the sugar testing. So the situation has changed a lot in last 2 years. So there will be a more of lab who are doing RT-PCR testing, which was once a very expertise and very specialized, which was very specialized and expertise area. But now you can consider it as a routine, or maybe a test which is very routinely used for testing purpose. So if you see the scenario, there is a lot of changes has occurred. The PCR investment has come down drastically to a lower level. The expertization, or which was supposed to a very high expertization, or which was supposed to only very few people could handle it. But now if you see, anybody can handle it. You don't require any specific qualification or any specific training. It's just a matter of training of some 5 days to 7 days, and you can start working on PCR. So everything has changed in last 2 years. So anybody who wants to start a PCR lab or RT-PCR lab, the situation has changed a lot, and it has become more easy to start a PCR lab. So if I would like to say, if any of our audience, if they have any specific questions, we can take the specific questions. Otherwise, I will just go through a routine flow that is required for the setting a PCR lab. So if you have any specific question, we can take it, or I will just go through the session and I will just mention the routine flow.
Sir, it is a routine flow. Like, how much is the cost? What will be the requirement? What is the signatory? The qualification. It's like a routine question flow.
Yeah. So I'll make just a routine flow. What is required for a PCR lab? So basically, PCR laboratory is a specialized laboratory. As I have told, still it is a specialized laboratory in terms of space requirement. You require dedicated space and a segregated space for all the areas, like for sample collection, sample preparation, then reagent preparation, and the actual testing. So we'll go through this complete flow, and I will let you know the cost or the any other expertise which is required for the RT-PCR lab. So first of all, I will let you know about the space, how much space is required. So for a RT-PCR lab where you are going to take infectious samples or say COVID samples, so space of around 300 to 350 square feet is sufficient. This space needs to be divided into 4 parts. The first part is a sample receiving part or the sample collection part, where you will collect the patient sample or COVID patient samples. So you can have a kiosk where you can collect the patient sample, and then in the same area you can receive it on your system. This area needs to have a separate doffing area. What is meant by donning? Donning is the preparation in the PPE kit. So you have to wear a complete PPE kit. So there should be a segregated area in this sample receiving area or sample collection area. And doffing means taking off all your PPE kit. So this is the second area. So all this, both the areas should be segregated. They should have physical segregation between those two areas, as well as the areas which is a sample collection area. So in the first area, or in the first part, you should have 3 things. One is the donning area where you are going to wear all the PPE kits. The second is the sample collection area where you are going to collect the swabs from the patient, which is called sample collection kiosk also. And the third is, after collecting samples, you have to take off all your PPE kit. So that is a doffing. So the first area should be segregated into three parts, that is donning, sample collection, and doffing. Now once you have collected the samples, all these samples should be directly transported to the sample preparation area, which is also called extraction room or RNA separation room, or simply a nucleic acid extraction room. So in this area, you will have one biosafety cabinet where whatever samples you have collected from the patient, all these samples should be directly taken into the biosafety cabinet. This sample collection box or whatever container is there, it should be directly taken to the biosafety cabinet so that there should be no other contamination or there should be no other spread of any infectious particle in other area. So all these samples should be directly taken into the biosafety cabinet. So this is one area where you will have biosafety cabinet. Now biosafety cabinet, what you require is the level 2 biosafety cabinet, level 2A or B biosafety cabinet, where you will have a hood which is taking all the infectious particles outside of the laboratory. So this is the first area, actual second area where the RNA extraction or sample preparation will be done. The next area is the master mix preparation. Master mix preparation means you require certain quantities or certain reagents, which includes base pairs, the template, the controls. All this should be prepared in the second area, which is a master mix preparation area, where you can have preparation of nucleotides, primers, probes. All these are added and prepared or can be made a initial preparation of this area. So this is the second area, which is the master mix preparation area. The third area is the template addition area, where you are going to add templates. Now what are the templates? Basically it is a positive control or the negative control which is added to the reaction mixture. So this is the second area. Now in first area, as I have told, in sample extraction area you need one biosafety cabinet. In the master mix preparation area you need one more biosafety cabinet. So there are now we have two biosafety cabinets are required. And the third is the template addition area, where you need a laminar airflow. Laminar airflow is basically a grade 1 biosafety cabinet where there is no external exhaust. So a small laminar airflow is required in the template addition area. And the final area is the PCR area, where the actual amplification of nucleic acid takes place. Now this area where we put our real-time PCR machines, and the actual reaction or actual detection amplification of the nucleic acid occurs in this area. This area doesn't require any other infrastructure. Maybe a computer system is required which is connected to the RT PCR machine for the analysis of the sample or the analysis of data. So this is the one thing which is required. So now we have seen one is the sample collection area, RNA extraction area. Again, this RNA extraction area should have donning and doffing, because the person who is doing this extraction process should be wearing a full PPE kit in the donning area, and after extraction he need to full take out the PPE kit. So that is a doffing area. So again, in extraction area also you need to have donning area, extraction group, and the doffing area. And the final is a master mix, template addition, and the PCR. So these all can be accommodated within a space of 350 to 400 square feet. So this is the space requirement. Now, what are the equipments required? As I have already told, two biosafety cabinets of level 2, one laminar airflow, that is grade 1 biosafety cabinet, and one is PCR machine or RT PCR machine, or the amplification machine for the nucleic acid. So these are the basically 4 important equipment. Now this RNA extraction can be done in 2 ways. One is the automated extractions and one is the manual extraction. Now if there is an automated extraction, there will be an automated equipment which will perform the, you just have to put your samples into it and it will just give the nucleic acid, ready-made nucleic acid in half an hour, 30-35 minutes. It has a protocol, so it will just all process of nucleic acid separation is automated, and the nucleic acid will be separated in this auto extraction machine. So the extraction process can be automated with the help of auto extractor. If it is a manual, then you need some additional equipment like cold centrifuge, vortex mixture, stirrers, and a water bath. So these are 4 other equipments that are required in the manual extraction room. Apart from that, you need 3 sets of pipette. Why 3 sets of pipettes? Because we have 3 different areas. One is extraction area, that is sample preparation. second is master mix area, and third is PCR or template addition area. So all these areas should have individual segregated sets of pipettes of various volume, like 10 to 100 microliter, 100 to 1000 microliter, 20 to 200 microliter, and at the lower end you require 0.5 to 50 microliter. So all these four number of pipettes, four sets of such four number of pipettes. So that is required. So now how much does it cost? How much all this infrastructure cost? So a auto extractor will cost anything around 6 lakhs, the lowest one 5 lakh to 6 lakhs. The higher, if you you go on a higher end, it will cost anything around 40 lakh to 50 lakh. But for a starter basis or a extractor which can perform around 24 extractions at a time, it will come around 5 lakh to 6 lakhs. And now, as I have told, the prices have come down drastically. So 5 lakh is from 50 to 5 lakh it has come. Then the next is biosafety cabinet. You require 2 biosafety cabinet, as I have told. Each biosafety cabinet costs around 80,000 to 1 lakh. So these are the cost of 2 biosafety cabinet. Then there is one laminar airflow which costs around 50,000, and one PCR machine. Again, the cost of PCR machine or amplification machines has come down drastically. Before 2 years, it was around 45 to 50 lakhs. Now you can get a extract or you can get a PCR machine around 8 to 10 lakhs. So the cost has come down drastically. So these are the basic structure which is required. As I have told, if the extraction is manual, you require a cooling centrifuge which costs around 1 lakh, cooling centrifuge. Water bath, again, which will cost around 10,000 to 25,000. Then you require some stirrers which will cost around 5,000 to 8,000, and set of pipettes. So each set of pipettes will cost around 20,000. So if you see the complete picture, the overall cost of setting a PCR lab with respect to the infrastructure and equipment will come around 20 lakh. 15 to 20 lakh you can establish a very good PCR laboratory, excluding I'm excluding again the space cost, because space, again, if you have your own space, it's good. Otherwise, if you want to take a space on rental basis, 400 square feet space is required, and the rent varies from cities and to locations. So this is the complete structure of PCR laboratory which is required to set up a PCR lab. The next thing is manpower requirement. How much manpower is required and what should be the expertization for these people? So if you see the each area, now there are 3% minimum is required. One is sample collection person. This sample collection person should do the job of only sample collection on a particular day. So if today is the day, one person will be doing the sample collection. He should not get involved into any other activities like extraction or master mix preparation or PCR amplification. So he should not go into any other areas because there are chances of contamination. Now the second mandatory requirement is the person who will do exclusive job of extraction. So this person has to be again exclusive. He should not do any other job on that particular day. He should not collect the samples, or he should not even visit any other area or the extraction or the amplification area or sample reagent preparation or master mix preparation area. So this second person is a mandatory. So one is person who is going to do exclusive collection. Second is a person who is going to do exclusive extraction. So these two persons are exclusive, should be doing their individual job on a particular day. And the third person is a master mix preparation. He can do the template addition, he can do the PCR analysis, he can do the report writing, he can do the report dispatching, or any other job whatever pending, he can do the rest of the things. So minimum 3 people are required, and they should not exchange their job, or they should not exchange their particular assignment on that particular day. They should do their job exclusively on the day. As I have told, because there are chances of cross contaminations, it is a highly RNAs are highly volatile. RNAs get destroyed very faster than the DNAs. So they should do their job on a particular day. So a minimum 3 persons are required. Apart from that, whatever extra manpower is required for cleaning or housekeeping, that is a different part. And what should be the training or qualification? So basically, as I have told, since this last 2 years the scenario has changed. You don't require that much expertization. Since the automated extraction have come, automated amplification has come, there is just a need of some pipetting techniques are required. You don't require any such sophisticated training. Maybe a person who has done medical lab technology diploma, graduation or post graduation, they can also do, provided they have some pipetting technique, well, command on pipetting technique. You don't require somebody who is graduation or post graduation in genomics or molecular biology or something who has hold the doctorate in genomics or something. Nothing is required. A simple pipetting techniques is required. So this was about the manpower which is required for the RT-PCR lab. So now again, if anybody has any particular questions, they can ask about this session, because as this is a very huge topic. Again, setting a PCR lab, you should have a proper planning. There should be a unidirectional workflow. The workflow should be unidirectional, from sample collection, RNA extraction, master mix preparation, template addition, and the PCR. And the person who has done PCR, he should not come again back to the areas of the sample collection or the RNA extraction. Those persons who are working in the sample collection or RNA extraction should not go to the PCR room, because there are chances of contamination. So there should be a mandatory unidirectional workflow. There are additional infrastructural requirement for RNA extraction area. This area should be a negative pressure area. This area should be under negative pressure. So that outside whatever is air can come inside. The inside air cannot or should not go outside of this area, because it is a negative pressure. Otherwise, the infectious particles can go outside and can infect who are not involved in any other testing activities or who are not wearing the PPE kit. So this area should under the negative pressure. Other areas can be under normal pressure. There are no such particular requirement. If you go again into details, there are specific requirement for each specific area. But as of now, the mandatory requirement is the RNA extraction area should be under the negative pressure.
So there's one question. Then how do we go for an NABL inspection? I mean, getting an NABL approval for RT-PCR, just for RT-PCR.
Yeah, so though this is not the actual scope of this session, I'll just give a brief idea. You can just log into the NABL website, and you can see there is a specific column for the NABL accreditation for COVID-19. So just click on it, registered with your username and one password and a phone number, email ID. And once you register, there will be option of generation of new application. So generate a new application. You have to fill the details of your organization, like what is the infrastructure, what is the location, who is the owner. Then you have to fill what is your legal identity, what is the registration of your laboratory, address of the laboratory. On the next page, you need to fill the scope, like molecular testing, you are applying for COVID-19 test. So the next page is the scope. The next page after that is the test, basically which test you are applying in the molecular testing. So you can just write it down, COVID-19 testing or any other RNA virus testing. Then there is a page of staff. So you have to write down all the name of the staff which are working in the laboratory. Then there is a page, separate tab of equipment. You have to write down the details of the equipment. What is the technical details of the equipment? What is the measuring accuracy of the equipment? What is the calibration date? What is the due date of calibration? All those details you have to write down. The next is you have to write down the reference material which we have used for the testing. So that reference material details you have to put. Then there is a column for the quality control activities. So what are the quality control activities you have to undertake? That details you have to fill in the application. And the last page is regarding the uploading your quality manual. So you have to prepare a quality manual and you have to upload the quality manual in the application. And finally, you pay a fee of around 20,000 rupees and just the application is submitted. So this is basically a procedure to apply for the NABL.
Thank you, sir. And now we'll take questions that we have got. And if anybody has more questions, please post it. Isa Private Doctor, she's asking, do they need MD biochemist signed reports or by any microbiologist?
See, as of now, the notification which has been provided by ICMR, again, I will tell you this notification came way back in 2020 April, around March or April 2020 it came. So it mentions about the microbiologist. So MD microbiology is required, but again we have seen many areas there are MD pathologies, MD biochemistries who are signing reports, and that is well been accepted by the ICMR and NABL. So it is not mandatory to have a MD microbiologist, but it is better if you have a MD microbiologist backup, because if you see the Clinical Establishment Act or any other local guidelines act, it's generally mentioned that the infectious disease PCR should be reported by MD microbiologist. So again, you have to see the local guidelines or what is applicable to the state or your country or what is applicable from the local body. As of now, the ICMR in his notification way back in March 2020 mentions that you need to have a MD microbiologist.
So basically, it is an MD microbiologist that is required.
Yeah.
The other question is, at a time, how many sample can be loaded?
See, as I have told, if it is a simple PCR, that is amplification of the samples, it is a 96 well plate, like what we are doing in ELISA. ELISA plate is a 96 wells. But again, you have to load some positive controls, negative controls, one positive, at least one negative control, known positive, known negative control you have to load, and the other can be samples. So that is the minimum capacity. We do not get any PCR machine less than 96 well capacity, but you do have PCR machines which has capacity around 384 samples. So on higher end, there is a PCR machines which can process around 384 samples in one cycle, whereas at lower end you have 96 wells PCR machines where you can load 96 samples, including the controls. This was about the amplification. In extraction part, there are again machines with various capacities from 1 to 24, 1 to 32, 1 to 48, 1 to 96. So there is a maximum capacity of 96 extractions at a time.
Okay, so that helps. Any other question? If anybody wants to ask right now. We are discussing RT-PCR, setting up of an RT-PCR lab. And if anybody wants to come in the live and ask questions, then they can.
So I think because as I told, the topic is huge, and now if you see, I can see around suddenly 3,000 or more than 4,000 laboratories has suddenly come to do RT-PCR. Not only in the government and private sector, this everything is distributed across government and private setup. We know even many of the government setup which do not have basic laboratory are performing sugar testing. They are also now doing RT-PCR testing. Or even in private setup, overnight laboratories have been built and they are doing the RT-PCR testing. Basically, it is both way. They are serving the society, they are earning the money, so it is going both the way. And as I have told, there is a huge gap between what happened in 2022, what was the situation for RT-PCR in January 2020, and what is the situation for RT-PCR in January 2022. So it has not become an exclusive area or exclusive space for anybody.
But I have one question, sir. मतलब ये मुझे अंदर से बहुत बड़ा question है पूछने के लिए. Someday the COVID pandemic will end. Okay.
Yeah, surely, it will end.
So someday this RT-PCR will, I mean, not have so much of importance.
Yeah. Now, this is not a very remote situation. I will tell you. ये कोई बहुत दूर की चीज नहीं. अगर आप एक for example एक situation देख ले, what has happened between the first wave and the second wave, there was at least a gap of 3 to 4 months, and then from second wave to third wave again there was a gap of almost 2 to 3 months. So what these labs were doing in between these 2 to 3 months, because most of them were not having RT-PCR samples, or they were having very few RT-PCR samples. So many of the labs have closed. many of the labs have fired their employees or they have removed their employees because they don't need. And some lab which already had a good marketing team, which had already good financial backup, they slowly expanded to other areas because they started as a RT-PCR lab. They earn a lot of money. They invest. Then meanwhile they invested into biochemistry. They invested into hematology. They invested into some other areas, and they survived. Now for all these labs who don't go beyond RT-PCR, again there will be a huge question mark for them what to do with these machines and what to do with this setup after the COVID pandemic ends. So it's there. If they don't expand or if they don't grow to other areas, surely nobody requires RT-PCR testing for each and every test. And even we know there are a lot of controversies for even for COVID RT-PCR testing. So you get a lot of false positives, also a lot of false negatives. The positive report doesn't correlate with clinically, or the patient is asymptomatic even with the. So basically, nobody requires RT-PCR in this much huge quantity. We do routinely for some testing, for some viral loads like HCV, HBV, or even for HIV viral load, we do it, but it doesn't require in this much volumes. So obviously, those labs who don't expand to other areas, they are going to get shut down. There is no other option.
So this brings to an important thing that everybody of you who are interested in the lab need to keep on watching this series, because sir is going to keep on coming with us and will tell us how to set up each aspect in the lab, because akela RT-PCR se kaam nahi chalega. If you need to set up a lab, you need to set up an entire lab, and sir is going to be with us and he'll help set up the entire lab for us. Everything: biochemistry, immunology, hematology, microbiology. So keep watching this space, and you can DM him also. And sir, we would require the link of your promo code so that it helps. You can put
I
it in
can
the
say,
comment.
I can code, I can put it, but the link you people need to log into this one app. It's called Udemy Lab. Udemy app, where there are a lot of courses. There you have to search the course with the name of Business Intelligence in Clinical Laboratory. So the name of the course also I will put it here. So this is the name of the course. You have to go to the Udemy app. You have to search the course, and you have to use the promo code. Well, I have to search it. So I have also given the promo code. You people need to use this promo code so that you can get free access. And
So this
even if
business intelligence clinical
yeah,
laboratory, and the promo code I've pinned the comment. आप लोग screenshot ले सकते हैं इसका, because it will be difficult for you to remember.
and if even if it shows as a code expired or it has reached maximum redemption, you can just message me or ask me. I can regenerate some more codes. Means I have that privilege, so I can generate some codes and you people can attend it. It is a certification course, so you are going to get a certificate. But let me tell you, it is basically regarding the business aspect of the laboratory, like how to calculate the expenses on reagent, how to calculate the expenses on QC material, how to calculate expenses on equipment, manpower expenses, how to calculate the profit ratio, how to calculate the expense ratio. So it is basically regarding that. So if those are interested, anyways, you can learn it. Maybe even if you are not applying it, it may require you in future.
It will be definitely helpful, sir, because the ones who want to set up a lab should know how to utilize the
Yeah.
financial resources well. So it will be definitely helpful. If still somebody has any problem in getting the link or the promo code, you can directly message sir. I I will tag his ID, Instagram ID, and it will be helpful. Watch the space for the next series on how to set up the lab. more. And till then, if somebody has any questions, please DM us. You can DM me, you can DM sir also. And stay safe, take care. So you want to give any last messages?
So invest wisely, even if it is whether it is RT-PCR or any other lab, whatever you want to start, invest wisely. See the future aspect also, so that your hard-earned money, whatever you are investing, should go at proper place.
पैसा सोच समझ के खर्च करो, क्योंकि
Yeah,
कमाना बहुत
बिल्कुल
मुश्किल है.
बिल्कुल सही.
Thank you, sir, for being so helpful and kind and taking us through the journey on how to set up the lab. Next month, we'll again come with you to discuss one more aspect. Till then, please take care of your health. Everybody out there, please take care of your health. Be safe and have a great night. Eat well, sleep well. Thank you.
Thank you.